Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now. Before we dive into today's video, do you want the Vikings to hop back into the win column this Sunday? If you do, make sure you give us a like on today's video. Do not jinx us. You don't want to be looking back and be like, man, I should have liked that kid's YouTube video. So don't jinx the Vikes. Like today's video, and let's dive into it. Coming up on today's edition of Vikings Now, we have a Justin Jefferson injury update that I'm sure will make you guys all very, very happy. Then we're just going to dive into a full-on Vikings Raiders Week 14 preview and a very big game for the Vikings, because if they do want to make the playoffs, this game really swings their chances. So hopefully the Vikes get a win, but we'll dive into that preview in a second. But Justin Jefferson, all reports are indicating that he should be playing versus the Las Vegas Raiders this Sunday. You know, any Vikings insider, beat reporter, they've all been saying he looks 100% and he should be ready to go this weekend. And actually, speaking about this past weekend, Jefferson was seen hooping down in Miami this past weekend, which was pretty cool. He was moving around a ton, just really didn't look like he was hobbled up at all. Actually had a nice little three-point jumper on him as well. So he looks fine. I mean, if you're going to risk going playing basketball in a gym in Miami, I'm sure you're more than 100% okay. So I fully expect him to be, you know, the 18 that we all know and love. That's one of the best receivers in the league, if not the best. So 18, he's 100%. All reports and all are kind of indicating that he will be doing so. And just speaking about on the field here, Jefferson's going to help out Josh Dobbs a ton. The Vikings already have very, very good weapons in Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Even we've seen like Brandon Powell and, you know, KJ Osborne getting more involved. But, man, Justin Jefferson, just having that true number one receiver, because I love Jordan Addison, but where he stands right now, he's more of a 2 in the league. But having that top 5 receiver, I mean, we've seen it even last night on Monday Night Football, having a guy like Jamar Chase for a guy like Jake Browning, it just matters. It just makes their life so much easier. And we've seen Dobbs. I mean, he loves throwing the 50-50 balls. No better player to throw a 50-50 ball to than Jefferson, in my opinion. But, hey, I had to throw this picture up there. Thought it was pretty funny. Jefferson and Addison the rest of the season, it is going to feel like Kobe and Shaq, and then like TJ Hawkinson's the Derek Fisher. But I think Jefferson, Addison, I think they're going to have a great rest of the year, man. They're going to be so hard to guard. I mean, could you imagine your opposing team DB and you're like, this is the scouting report. 2 of the best route runners in the league, great at 50-50 balls, just good luck for the rest of the NFL having to guard these 2 the rest of the year. But diving into the Vikings Raiders full-on Week 14 preview, let's start off with just getting familiar with the Las Vegas Raiders. Where do they rank offensively, defensively here in the NFL? And we'll just start off offensively. So Raiders offense, definitely a weak spot. One of the worst in the league. Just calling a spade here. But yards per game, they're 29th at only 300 a night. Passing yards, 201.3. That's 21st in the NFL. They do have Aiden O'Connell, the rookie quarterback, should be getting the start this weekend. And then rushing yards. They are not a good rushing team, even though having the rushing leader, Josh Jacobs, on their roster. They're 31st in the league. Points per game, 16.8. So the Vikings, you just have to tell Josh Dobbs, go get 3 touchdowns. Will most likely get a win. But kick it to them on the defensive side of things here. The Raiders, not a bad defense. It's mainly because of one guy, number 99, Maxx Crosby. But yards per game, they're 19th in the league. Pretty solid secondary over there in Las Vegas. They're 13th in the league in passing yards given up per game. Rushing yards, it's really where they are susceptible. You can get downhill on them, giving up 127 a night. And then points per game, giving up 21.6 or 0.3, which is 16th in the NFL. So, hey, listen, the Raiders defense, it's not the best in the world, but it's also not the worst, and mainly because of this guy right here. This guy is a game wrecker. 66 tackles on the season, 15 TFLs, 11.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble for Maxx Crosby. He really is the energizer. He really is the heart and soul of this Raiders defense. And it's funny, like, we talk about what a year Danielle Hunter's having for our ball club. Like, Maxx Crosby's having a very a similar year where he's great in the run game as well with 15 TFLs, man. Maxx Crosby, he is a game wrecker, and listen, Vikings are definitely going to have to, game plan for him. But when you have Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw, I feel pretty confident that they will be able to get the job done. But Vikings Raiders this week, predict the score for me down below in the comments section. If I have to go up, I'm put myself in the spot here off the top of my head. I'd probably get the Vikings. I think they're going to get a win. Probably floating around 24-13. I do think this Vikings team, just overall 53-man versus 53-man, is a lot better than what the Raiders have there in Las Vegas. But more on the preview here in a second, but I do want to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. If you guys go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS, you're going to get a first deposit match up to $100. I love using Prize Picks. It makes boring games a whole lot more entertaining. Speaking about like the Jags-Bengals game on Monday night, this was a boring night, or a boring game in my opinion, but PrizePicks made it a whole lot more fun, even though Jake Browning ended up going off, so I did not cash that one out. I took the less when I took the more on his passing yards, but I also rolled with Etienne as well. I had more than 67.5 rush yards. But how does it work? All you got to do is pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stat types, and you guys can start seeing some serious cash roll in today. I love using it. One more time, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Make sure to put that link for y'all in the comment section and description of today's show. So, how did the Vikings come out of Las Vegas with the victory this weekend? Got some keys to victory for the Vikes versus the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a big-time game, guys. This really swings our playoff kind of hopes and chances. They're in the balance this game because the Vikings are 6-6. The Packers and Rams winning games lately. It's really going to be a grudge match here down the stretch. But number one, no doubt about it, this guy right here. I cannot wait to watch him play football again, just like my fandom coming out of me. Like, seeing 18, seeing Justin Jefferson back on the field, I can't wait because when he was on the field this year, people really forget what he did. In just 5 games played, he had over 570 yards, 15.9 yards per catch. He really was a great deep threat for this football team. And just like how I was saying earlier, how Maxx Crosby kind of is that energizer bunny, kind of the leader of that defense, that's what Jefferson is. I mean, if you guys forget, Kevin O'Connell, coming from the Sean McVay tree, they use these number one receivers as their entire offense. We've seen what Cooper Kupp's done in L.A., seeing what Jefferson did the past 2 years under Kevin O'Connell. I just can't wait to get him back involved. Don't overthink it. Find him the ball early and often. And Dobbs, throw him a couple 50-50 balls, and I guarantee it will go our way. But number 2, let 99. Let him game wreck. Danielle Hunter, again, he's one of my favorite players in the league. He is set to be a free agent, by the way, just a little side note. So I really do hope the Vikings do bring him back because the year he's having, man, it's just unreal. I mean, especially the TFL numbers, tied for first in the National Football League right now at 18, but the pressure's at 45. I mean, 13.5 sacks, 60 tackles, 3 forced fumbles. Like, just seems like every single game he is just making a big-time play. We saw it even against the Bears a couple Monday nights ago. Like, he had that big-time strip sack on Justin Fields. Whenever the defense kind of needs that extra play, needs that boost, Danielle Hunter's the guy. Just keep doing what he's doing, and I think the Vikings will have a chance. But very similar also. The Raiders have Maxx Crosby. We have Danielle Hunter. We have Justin Jefferson. They got Devontae Adams. Kind of very similar built teams. But number 3 on keys to victory, it's got to be limit the turnovers, man. I mean, Josh Dobbs, the 4 picks he threw against the Chicago Bears were just brutal. I mean, they're heartbreaking. Like, they are really back-breaking interceptions because this offense has a ton of talent. If you just stay on script, stay in rhythm, you can put up a lot of points, and we've seen it this year. But this stat line just can't happen. 22 of 32, 185 yards, 4 INTs. And what bothers me the most about this, actually, is just the overall rushing yards. He only had 11. Go use your legs. That's what you're best at. Use that dual threat ability, and I think he'll find more success than he did because it'll also just open up the pass game as well. So hopefully Dobbs clean up the turnovers, stay in rhythm, stay in motion for this offense. We could seriously put up a lot of points because he's got a lot of playmakers to throw to now with Jefferson being back on top of Addison, Powell, Osborne, and Hawk. I think Dobbs will have a bounce-back game versus the Raiders. But number 4 for me, man, this is probably should be talked about more amongst Vikings media members, but it's Kevin O'Connell's play calling. And I hate being that guy on the internet who thinks he knows more than an offensive genius like Kevin O'Connell. But it does become pretty obvious when you look at the play calling when the run pass that Kevin O'Connell's fallen in love with has to stop. In big-time moments over the past 2 games, he has went back to just this run up the middle, and then he throws a pass on 3rd down, goes nowhere, and we're just kind of sitting there like, what are we doing here, Kevin O'Connell? Because he is a genius. He does have great scripted plays sometimes. Just he is so up and down as a head coach. And maybe it's just the Vikings offense as a whole, kind of this roller coaster we've been on. But the run pass in key moments when we're up and we have a lead has to stop. Be aggressive. Just have a better mentality overall when calling plays. That's all I'd have to say. But, hey, I want to get you guys involved here. Grade Kevin O'Connell as a head coach this season. I'm probably still sitting as a B, man. You're at 500 and you lost Jefferson for most of the year and you lost your freaking starting quarterback. So I think he's done a good job. Just situational play calling, not the best. But I'd give him a B. But let me know what you guys would think or have to say about that down below. As always, give me a follow on Twitter. At Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. I'll make sure to put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. As always, see y'all next time. Skol Vikes.